Welcome to Bird's Eye View. I'm Sam Neens. So the subject this week was inspired by an episode of a documentary I'm watching on Disney Plus right now called Supernatural Animals. Little free publicity for them. And the episode was about how certain animals work together to survive and how some of those relationships can actually be unexpected. So without further ado, clever cooperation. In a world of survival of the fittest, cooperation may seem detrimental to a system that promotes the strongest, smartest, or best individuals within a species. But if that were the case, we wouldn't see so many examples of cooperation in the environment. Even different species work together to ensure their survival. Animals cooperate between members of the same species and between different species, and some animals don't even know they're helping out another species. So what are examples of animal cooperation? Let's get into it. Forests are filled with songs and sounds. Some of these sounds come from birds that sing and chirp back and forth to each other, sending various messages. And some of those calls are alarm calls, which an individual or group of birds can send off to warn other birds of a nearby threat, including hawks, snakes, bears, and even humans, actually. But it's not only the single bird species that reacts to this call. So for example, the black-capped chickadee gets its name from its alarm call. So when they sense a threat, they'll send off their alarm call, which is chickadee-dee, chickadee-dee, and the amount of D's at the end of the chickadee alarm call represents the number of D's. So chickadee-dee-dee-dee would be more threatening than chickadee-dee. Now, it's not only the single bird species, like in this example, the chickadees, that react to this call, but other bird species and even other animal species, including squirrels and chipmunks, that can mimic the call, and deer that can tune into these messages and prepare themselves for the potential for danger. So when an alarm call gets sent out in the forest, everyone listens and responds. Moving into the ocean, the orca is one of the most recognizable whale species, and they're known for their intelligence. Orcas are a species of animal that likes to stay in groups, so it benefits them to work together. What's interesting about orcas is that they have their own cultural styles of hunting depending on where they live in the world and what type of prey they're hunting. And I use the word cultural because it was described once in a scientific paper I read that in this instance, cultural or culture could possibly be used for the different behaviors of orcas because it's different behaviors within the same species in different areas of the world, which I thought was interesting. So looking at one specific group of orcas, the southern orcas work together to find seals down in Antarctica. So when they find a seal on a piece of ice by itself, they actually start by bobbing their head up out of the water just to get an idea of where that seal actually is. And then what comes next is actually very cool. So most of the group of orcas swim towards that block of ice in such a way that it actually creates a wave on the surface that washes over that ice sheet and pushes the seal into the water where there's another orca or a few other orcas ready to catch it. It's actually very cool, and you can find videos of it online, and I highly suggest that you do if that is something that interests you, because it's very interesting and very clever cooperation. Now, this is specific to the southern orcas down in Antarctica. There are also different orcas that hunt fish, like salmon. There are orcas that hunt great white sharks. There are orcas that hunt even larger species of whale, like the gray whale, or actually I've even heard orcas hunting blue whales, actually. Now, we humans are also helping animals in an unexpected way. Every day, thousands of people drive their cars to work or to school or wherever their destinations are. And red-tailed hawks have learned to take advantage of that. It's difficult to hunt, and it's not always successful. And hawks that catch other birds, on average, have a success rate of about 20% for their hunts. So in order to increase their chances, they've put us to work for them. Every day, animals are hit by cars, including pigeons, and this means easy meals for the hawks. This is why we very frequently see red-tailed hawks perched on the light posts on the side of highways. And if you haven't seen them before, you probably will all the time now. And please don't let it distract you while you're driving. I have to remind myself of that. But they're there, and they're just waiting for us to make their dinner for them. Survival of the fittest does not always mean one individual being more successful than the rest. Cooperation is used in many species, including us humans, to ensure the survival of the group. Next time you're in the forest, tune into the calls of the birds and listen for the alarm calls. And look out for red-tailed hawks along the sides of the highway. Animals all around the world are cooperating in unique and interesting ways to ensure that life as a whole continues on our planet. Thank you for listening. For more interesting content on all things nature, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram @birdseyeView.blog and Facebook.com/birdseyeviewblog. The letter I, not the word I.